We've all heard the stories. Dean has reported them on young Hollywood living on the edge. But it's not just young Hollywood dabbling in drugs or alcohol or needing some kind of treatment, some kind of extra help. In today's Focus on Family, Dr. Gary Hill, a licensed clinical psychologist, is here with some advice for parents on the warning signs that your child might be going from mild to wild, as we say. And the sad thing is that they see these people on television, you know, in the case of Miley Cyrus, someone that the little ones looked up to on the Disney Channel and wanted to be like her, just spinning out of control.
Right, doing all kinds of crazy behaviors, out of control behaviors, substance abuse, etc. Let me use a quick example of a young celebrity, and that'll lead into some of the parenting stuff that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Justin Bieber is probably the perfect example. He becomes a YouTube sensation around the age of 11 or 12, an international superstar, 3 or 4 years later. So now he's, 17, 18 years old. And what happens in that process? He's young, he's surrounded by an entourage of people that are telling him, that he's cool, he's being told he's wonderful. And the problem is that how you feel about yourself inside, how you internalize how you feel, becomes externalized with people like that. In other words, you depend on a constant external adoration to build a sense of yourself inside. So if that stops with somebody like a Justin Bieber, what happens is, and Miley Cyrus on the MTV Awards is a perfect example. When they fail to feel internally calm and sound, they act out more behaviorally, externally, to get external stimulation and input. And these people are basically anxious and lonely at the end of the day. Lindsay Lohan, Justin Bieber, Miley Cyrus, etc.
Now, our kids don't have the masses, but I often think of their parents, especially in the case of Miley Cyrus. Her dad said, oh, she was just being Miley, as opposed to saying,
whatever that means exactly.
You know what, Miley, we don't dress like that, we don't act like that in public. And I think that's really where it starts, is at home.
Exactly.
And so what should we be looking for to see that our kids might be just on the verge of that? Because you want to catch them before they've really gone off the deep end.
Right. Let me first explain, sort of the details of what's called attachment, okay? Here's the core ingredients of effective parenting, whether it's with a celebrity or, my kids or your kids or whatever. There's some core ingredients. One is, the parent has to be able to set up a consistent, structured, and nurturing environment that's predictable. So if a kid knows basically week by week inside their house that they pretty much know what's going to happen next, the rules of engagement at home, what's expected, if those rules of engagement and expectations from parents don't change too much or become inconsistent or chaotic, what that does over time is it creates sort of a structured cocoon around a kid. They're able to then internalize a sense of calmness, a sense of self-confidence, a sense of, call it positive self-esteem. They're able to carry that around with them every day. So if a bad day happens, for example, they're able to say, well, today was a bad day, I'm frustrated about today, but I still feel good about myself inside.
And even if you are limiting what they can do, you're also really limiting the conflicts, because they know this is consistently what is going to be required.
Right. In fact, when I do my parenting work, and parenting is breaking down and kids are acting out, they're underachieving in school or anything like that, what's really happened when I look at it more closely is the parents are becoming inconsistent. They're becoming inconsistent with rules, they're not following through. And what that really teaches a kid to do very quickly is that the parent isn't serious. So the kid starts blowing off the parent. What the parent then does is escalate their own behavior and start yelling and screaming or setting more limits. And that just sets off the kid in a more emotional way.
It becomes a vicious
It actually teaches
cycle,
a kid to become emotionally dysregulated. It actually teaches a kid that the way to get what you want is to act out inappropriately or escalate your behavior and become anxious and demanding, essentially.
Well, doctor, thank you so much. So it's the limits and consistency, because it's so important.
Those
it's the most
basic,
important job
in the heat of battle as a parent, it's actually very hard to do.
Thank you so much. If you'd like more information or to hear some of these tips again, you can log on to WGNTV.com/midday.